Hello, welcome to the Weekly Outlook in the DeFi Dojo. I am Groot, aka name is Rob, and today is June 9th. And we're going to go over the markets, discuss the charts, and try to see what we can see for the next week ahead. Right now, the dollar is holding that support, and it briefly fell down below, and it looked like we were going to get a close below on Thursday. And then Friday came and just brought everything right back up, closed above the 8 EMA, above the trend, above the 382, and now we're heading higher. So I think this could cause some havoc. You can see the EMAs like curling higher, and we're already opening up to start the week. So we can see as high as 105.72 at the R1 pivot here, which is going to be the next resistance. If we get above that and close above, then that gives us the momentum to go make a new high above this high. And if that happens, then that's not going to be very good for anybody. The equities markets and crypto will both probably take a tumble should that happen. But meanwhile, while we're just trading in between these two levels, if we just kind of maintain sideways, then equities can move higher. I don't know about crypto though. I'm watching USDT on this, and I think as long as we stay below this 4.57% mark, which for the last 3 weeks now we have. However, it keeps finding support at the same levels around 4.3. While we're just kind of maintaining in between these two areas, I think we're just going to be in some not so fun markets. Bitcoin is doing better than everything else again, and you can see that by looking at Bitcoin dominance. We're holding up above this pivot on the weekly. And so I do still think that we can see this push up to the golden pocket, to the downtrend line. And then once that starts falling, then maybe we'll see an altcoin run. But for now, I still think that Bitcoin's going to be dominant as long as we stay over this 0.5. Once we get down underneath that 0.5 again, okay, we can start saying, all right, altcoins can start moving. But as long as we're above it, then we're likely going to see that golden pocket or at least touch the 618 where that trend line is. And then, we're going to keep seeing, SOL dominance is like right on trend here. So we'll see if that holds up. If this breaks, I'm probably going to short SOL, personally. We have a lower high on dominance. And then if this breaks, we'll likely go see a lower low. And I think Ethereum will take over from that point on. If we look at Ethereum dominance, it's just got to get up over this downtrend, right? And as long as we hold 17.44 on Ethereum dominance, I think we'll be fine. But there is definitely room down from where we are now to that point. And you can see that that's the pivot on the daily. It's right here along with that 618. So this is the area we want to see Ethereum dominance hold. If that fails, then, we're just shit out of luck, I think. But I do think it will hold. The EMAs are still bullish. We could see this start to curl potentially on the weekly. It just crossed bullish, and you can see right where that where that is all in the same spot as this 618. So this 17.4 area is very important for Ethereum dominance. I'd like to see a retest and a pop back up and get over this trend. And then at that point, I think we'll see Ethereum start to overpower. If we look at the ETH Bitcoin chart, kind of looks very similar to the dominance chart, and we have that pivot that we're holding right now. And I'll zoom into that so you can see. And we're below the EMAs, but they haven't crossed bearish yet, right? So this still has time to find support and make a nice move up. So I'd like to see that happen this week. If we don't get that happening this week, then these might cross bearish. We might go below pivot, and then we might come back down to this freaking 0.5 again. Who knows? We might need to retest that anyway because it's such an important level. But we'll see. I think we have time. I don't think we're just going to skyrocket out of here anytime soon. I think the markets are going to remain pretty stagnant. And it's summer, so that's kind of, we got a summer lull. But Bitcoin closing up over the previous all-time high is a good sign. I'd like to see it hold that. If we fall back below, 69K again, then yeah, we're probably going to come touch the 8 EMA at 67.3. If that fails, then we got to deal with the, 1.618 of the previous cycle and the R3 at 63K-ish area again. And as long as we hold this triangle, I think we'll be okay. Again, that's the top of the channel, right? So we want to see it hold the top of the channel. And we have this kind of bullish pennant forming. And so it doesn't look like it's finished, right? Typically you get, a wave high and then a little lower and then a higher low and then a higher lower high. And then it kind of squeezes out of here. So we might have all the way until almost the end of July before we get that move out of here. But unless, and maybe it happens sooner, who knows? If it does happen sooner, our Q would be as if it broke 71.3, which is the previous highest weekly close that we've had, right? So that's kind of what I'm basing this on, is if we can get a close over that weekly close, okay, now we've definitely broken this little triangle and we can start heading higher. But until then, expect sideways, wishy-washy action for a little while. I think we might have a couple weeks of that potentially. So, you could short the top of this triangle, take profits at the bottom and long the bottom, and then take profits at the top, and just kind of repeat that motion as we go on. Granted, this is a weekly candle, so those would be swing trades that you could attempt. On the daily, this is what it looks like. So you got your pivot on the daily down here at 65, so that's kind of the low end of what we might see, with wicks below potentially. So just kind of take it easy, dollar cost average on the major dips, or if we break out, right? Until then, it's kind of not really worth it to try to play this game. So I'm just being patient, and if I see other opportunities to buy, I'll definitely call them out in the chat. But right now, I don't see a whole lot in crypto. Equities, I think that this could come down too. We got over that resistance last week in that one daily candle. And then since then we sold off back below, touched the 8 EMA, but now we're closing back underneath again. This is definitely still divergent on the daily, divergent on the weekly. So there's a lot saying that, we might be in for a cool down. I don't think we can just keep heading straight up without some sort of pullback. Although, we've been thinking that for a while. I just think that we're close to it. The Dow Jones still showing that major divergence on the weekly and still trading in between the EMAs here. So usually when you're in between the EMAs, you don't get a whole lot of action. It could be several weeks that they stay there until it makes a move, several weeks until it makes a move. But if we fall below 380 on the Dow Jones DIA ETF, then we can see more downside. If we break back above the 1.272, then we can see upside. So while we're in these ranges, it's pretty boring and it's really hard to trade. So I'm just being patient and waiting for something to happen. And until it does, I don't really want to waste my money on guessing the short-term stuff. I might scalp something here and there, but really that's hard to call that out. So, while I apologize, there's not a whole lot of things going on. Really the best thing that we have right now are the penny plays, and those are hard to trade too if you're not really on top of them. And we had a discussion about the spreads and the bids and the asks, and if they're really far apart, it definitely is difficult to gain entry, and so definitely want to use limit orders if you're attempting those penny trades. And then try to get filled at the lower end, obviously, and then set your limit orders on the higher end to sell. And that's how you can kind of get a few bucks out of those things. I hope those are helping. I know that a lot of people in here are in crypto, and not many have ventured into the traditional finance side of things. I do think that it's a good idea to do that. I think that you should spread your resume out, add things to it. And who's got their mic on? Anyways, traditional finance is where the money is made long term. Thanks, Stephen. And it's where you want to have most of your money. I don't have most of my money in crypto. I have most of my money is in blue chip stocks, where I don't have to worry about it in the next 10 years. You don't have to worry about Google and Amazon and Apple in 10 years. And that's where you want to park the majority of your money. And then when the crypto cycle comes around, okay, let's start moving some stuff over and take advantage of that move that happens, every 4 years. And that's what I do anyway. It's fun when markets move in crypto, but the majority of the time, this is what we get, and then you have those weeks where it does this, right? And everybody's woohoo, and they're all buying the top, and then you get 3 months of sideways, and it sucks. So being able to trade options, being able to trade stocks, being able to trade pennies, being able to trade futures, these are all things, Forex, having all of this stuff in your back pocket allows you to move around when things are moving, right? 40% APR on SPY, yeah. Well, no, I don't think so, but you can definitely just park your money there and you'll be good in 20 years, I can tell you that. you'll have 40% then, you know, but who knows? You trade these leverage trades all the time, and that money goes away real fast. What would I do with my ADHD and autism? I don't know. I'm sure there's doctors for that. You could buy, some of them health stocks. So total market cap is holding this level right here, total 2 anyway. So this is our altcoin market. And you can see that pivot hit like perfectly on that retest. That would have been like a great spot to buy had you caught it. I didn't catch it. I'm too busy. But we're definitely breaking downtrend, holding support here so far. That daily EMAs are kind of looking a little iffy, but they definitely could still, recover still. And total market cap's holding the golden pocket here so far. So this level here is the important spot. And if we lose that 2.4344 area, we're going to head down to this one. And there's a big gap here, right? So that would be pretty significant if this fell that far. But I think that we might hold it, I do. Ideally, we want to see us break this area up here where we tried to previously and failed. So in the meantime, I can't call it short term. Mid to long term though, I'm still bullish. I think that we're still in the beginning stages of a bull market, and I still think that Bitcoin is going to head up here eventually, and we might have 8 months until that happens. So continue DCAing is what I'm going to do, and if you have any chart requests, feel free to drop them in the chat. Any specific questions at all, I will answer them, and let me know what you got. Can you break down that SOL chart on the daily, not the dominance chart? Thanks. Sure. All right, so let's look at SOL. So I'll start at the weekly, and I'm just going to draw my line straight through these wicks here to get my downtrend. You can also draw one starting here, going up, maybe something like that, right? And then you have your weekly R2 pivot. So what I would do in this situation is see that support right there on that candle wick. I would put a line right there, and then I would move to the daily. And so seeing that, now I see a pivot on the daily as well. So now I have this little zone that I know would need to break down in order for me to want to short it, right? So I would like to see that break down. So if we fall down below this low, that would be a short scalp, right? And you could scalp this down probably to the previous pivot here at 149.08. Now, whenever we break major trends, you're always going to get a retest, and you can see that this is a major trend. Like, this is what we've been holding. And so what'll happen more often than not, and where's my little fun drawing tool? I don't know, I can't find it. There it is. Nope. Is you'll get that move down, right? And then everyone will short, and then it'll come back up and retest, and then it will make its move back down. That retest is what you want to short. You don't want to just grab this dip, because especially SOL, this thing moves 10% a day sometimes. It'll kill you. And so you don't want to try to attempt a leverage trade on this unless you're getting that retest that you wanted. It could retest here, it could retest at the pivot, and so you'll want to like DCA into that short at the pivot, at the retest, and then those EMAs, when they come down, they're going to be your guide for a stop loss, right? And that's where you want to take that swing short. Now, let's say we recover here. Let's say we don't end up breaking down and we get up above the EMAs. So we move back above the EMAs. The retest on those EMAs is where you want to catch the long and try to take it up to the top of the triangle. Does that make sense? That's how you minimize your risk the most, is by getting those retests. If you don't get the retest, you don't take the trade. Like, you don't guess halfway through. It's a recipe for losing. And that's when you get those really high confidence trades, is when you get those retests. And those are the only times I really take trades anymore. And when you get this tight into a triangle, you can go a little higher leverage. Why? Because now the movements are going to be less. We're back here. Look how big these movements are, right? And as you get tighter into the triangle, the movements get smaller and smaller and smaller. So you can take advantage of a little higher leverage and hope to catch the direction that you're wanting, right? Now, eventually, I think that this could break out and head to the upside because this is a bullish pennant. But if we lose this level here, we could get some major downside, right? I'm not saying we're going to. I'm saying I'm waiting on that to potentially happen, because now our daily EMAs are bearish again. So now in the short term, I'm leaning bearish until it shows me it's going to get back above again. I hope that makes sense. Kind of giving you a rundown of how I view particular tickers and trades in the short term and in the long term. Because you can take advantage of a short even though you're long term long, right? So I hope that helps. But ideally, as long as we stay over this pivot, this is bullish and we're holding this level. So you could take longs right at this spot with stop losses just below. And if it falls down there and hits your stop, well, then you can flip bearish on the retest. Is kind of how I play it. Can you crush my hopes and dreams and look at mode? I can do my best. I've never even heard of it, if that helps. Yeah, that's bad. That's not good. You don't want that. That's all sorts of problems there. I mean, the only thing you got going for it is that pivot, but this is so new that I don't even know how much I can like rely on those pivots. So I guess you could go long here and keep your stop loss at 3 cents and have a minimal risk here. That's kind of the only thing I would say, but this is super bearish, super downtrend. It doesn't look like anybody's ever wanted this ever. Yeah, there's nothing really good about this. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry. All right, GMX. Weekly. Ugh, freaking pivots. Oh, how did you do that? How did she make the noise? I don't know how to do stuff like that. Is that in Discord? You can do that? Oh, you can. They did this now. Okay. Yeah, I did it. All right. Are you proud of me? All right, GMX. So we might be able to take this to the downtrend. There's not much left of it. And it's definitely in a downtrend. I don't know if there's a more chart, but I'm assuming Binance is it. And so here's our main fibs, right? And then what I would do, wait, where's that going? That's the uptrend, okay. So then I would take this whole thing and see where it's rejecting right now. And you can see that it's rejecting in the golden pocket, which makes sense, right? This is what it does. So once we get and find support maybe down here around 37, 31, where that 21 EMA is rolling up, you could take a shot, assuming that this 0.5 is going to hold. And you would want to see that hold. Yeah, so you could get wicked down to the weekly 8 EMA at 36-ish. And that would be kind of where I would keep my stop loss, is just underneath that. So like it'd have to be right around here. So that would be like my stop loss according to the weekly 8 EMA. So you might want to go just underneath that because this can probably wick you out. So I would say that you could try that long and hope for the downtrend retest, but you would definitely want to take your profits around the $50 area if you did try to go long on this around 37 with stops at 35. See, that would be a nice risk to reward, right? Because you're only going to lose potentially 5% to your stop with the ability to make potentially 34%. So that's a risk to reward return. I'm all about it. That minimizes your risk and increases the substantial upside. Ondo. Apparently I put a channel on this. It's not a very good one. A long time ago. This looks like it's in take profit territory, but it didn't quite. Okay, it didn't quite make it to the 1.618. It's not really divergent. So that 1.272 is the support you want to see hold. You could get wicks down to the 123 area around the 21 EMA. That's where I would ideally want to take a long on, is right around that 21 EMA. But it could just hold the 1.272 and then start trekking for the 1.618. But it's in the take profit zone. So like if you are in this from way the hell down here, then you should be taking profits in this zone and then waiting for the next level to break to try to take it higher. And there's not a whole lot in here. Like this isn't a very big percentage-wise move in crypto world anyway. Like that's 25%. So if you're in this from way down here, then you should definitely be, cashing in something at least. That's what I'd be doing anyway. But use these levels. If we break below, then try the 21 EMA. If it continues to fall, then just get the hell out, because then that's a long way back to the previous high here. And a lot of these altcoins lately have been doing that. They'll go up and they'll return all the way back to the previous all-time high. INJ is a prime example. Let's see, where'd she go? So there's the previous all-time high, and it returned all the way back to it and then started coming back up. I do like INJ here with the stop just underneath this 25 level, and I think we could eventually make it up to these take profit levels finally. And I think that's a good risk to reward there, where you're only risking a couple bucks per token to try to double, triple, possibly quadruple, or 5 times your money from here. I think it's one of the better plays, and I definitely mentioned that a few days ago in the Charge channel. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on INJ. Brett and RVST. Brett's that meme coin that one guy keeps talking about, isn't it? This thing's nuts. I mean, it's hard to chart it other than doing this. So there's your support, 1.618, and we can try to take it to the 2.272. So stops right here. You see the 8 EMA is perfect on that as well. So stop loss just underneath that mark, and that gives us what? Like from our current location, it's about 14%. So maybe you see these two candle closes and opens here. That could be your entry, right around 17 cents even, with a stop loss just underneath that 8 EMA. So that would give us about a 11%. That's not too bad for meme world. I'd probably want to go around like 14.6, like 14.6 cents. Like just underneath that wick right there. So what's that, 14.8? Yeah. So I would try to enter here, and then my stop would be here. And then I would try to take it here. I don't know if it's going to keep going that far, because it's already an insane amount, but definitely possible in meme world, right? So that would be how I would approach it. RVST. Been waiting for this to tell me to get back in, and it hasn't yet. It still isn't telling me to get back in. So yeah, I'm glad I took profits on that a while ago, and I'm waiting, but it still hasn't shown me that it wants to break this downtrend. It is a wedge, so if it does break it, then it could be pretty damn good. So like there's your wedge, right? So I'm kind of just waiting for that to pop back out to tell me to get back in. And if this red line fails, then it's kind of in big trouble. But that double top was something, and that's why I got out like right around here. So you're saying there's a chance. I think there's a chance. I don't know if you're talking about RVST or Brett, but yeah, there's a chance. ALB. I don't know if that's it. Is this only on Dex Tools? You're going to have to send me a link. Is it this one? Wrapped Ether. Is this USD? USD. Yeah, I don't know if I can chart that. That looks like a rug. If that's what it is, I'm sorry for you. I don't know if that's bad. It's really bad. Alien base. Okay, good. It's not that. I don't know if it's on here though. I don't think it's on here. I think we're gonna have to use DEX tools. So if you want to send me a link, I can chart it for sure. WIF. Northern Gem always wants me to chart WIF, and I am happy to do it. Ooh, okay. Well, that's only a 15-minute. Is that what it's, is that it? I thought this was like oh, okay, that's better. Okay, well, we have a clear support, which is right around here. And it is still making higher highs and higher lows, so that's good. Let's go from here to here, and from here to here gives us a retest. So I kind of like it with minimal risk. 250. Okay, so we can try this with a stop loss like right about, I would go with that wick right there. 242 would be my cutoff point. What's that give us? It's like 10, 11%. Once again, not too bad for meme world on spot to try long here. We're really far away from the daily EMAs, and usually price likes to come back to them. So I mean, at the very least, you could probably get a move back to the $3 area from here, as this is like finding support and making moves sideways until it finally maybe makes a move back up. But ideally, we want to get over this pivot. So if we can get over 322, let's call it, then yeah, we can definitely make a nice move. And using this S1 at 252 as our kind of stop loss area with this trend, this whole zone down here would be danger zone, and you could short it. So I would long from here, stop loss there. If we do hit the stop, then we want to short, and then we can take it down to the depths of hell. Eventually, I plan on doing that, just so you know. Okay, let's see what this gives us. It's not a bad looking chart. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to chart. Okay, here we go. So I guess I would go from here. Oh, see, I gotta like mess with all the settings and stuff. Well, it definitely, I don't even know if I'm in log mode. I am. Is this in log mode? Yeah, it is. Okay. Alright, well, I guess it would have been better to see it hold that level, the 618, and it didn't, so that's not great. And let's bring it down here. So your next real support is this 382, around 4 cents. That little structure here would offer that support in that zone, so that would be where I would maybe try to attempt a long. It's definitely bullish overall, and then I would just keep my stop loss probably somewhere around the bottom of that candle right there. So 3.2, it's quite a big gap. That's almost 25%. So, but you're dealing with memes, and that's the risk you take. But I would aim for 4 cents as a buy-in if this little level doesn't hold, right? So if that does hold, then maybe we can see another move back up, but this is still a downtrend, so you want to draw a trend line here, and you really wouldn't want to consider that something you can try to jump in on until it breaks that downtrend here. So I hope that helps. Meme coins are hard. They don't follow typical things, typical technical analysis. Pendle. Yeah, so it's still looking shaky. I don't like this lower high. Like, you can see all of its previous history. It had these, resistances, but it still made a higher high, right? And then pulled back and then went higher. And then here, same thing, lower high, a move down, a higher high, a move down, and then another big move. And this is the first time it's actually put in a lower high. So that's kind of what worries me a little bit about it. And once again, if you haven't taken some profits on this and you've been in way the hell down here, I just implore you to at least get your initial out. Like, if you've been in this for a really long time, it should be very simple and easy for you to get your initial out at the very least, if not make something out of this, because you never know what's going to happen with something like Pendle, right? Like, it sounds great on paper and it's really bullish, fundamentally speaking, at the moment. It can certainly, bounce off this trend and go make higher highs. I'm not saying that it can't, but when you have something that's gone from pennies, 10 times, like it's just substantial, and there are going to be profit takers. So if we take this, we hit the 2.272 off that trend already, so that's your major resistance. We got to get back over 663 really to have any sort of say in making new highs. And then when that happens, then we can measure this one and say, all right, our first target's going to be this level area up here. So, but until it shows us that it's going to bounce off this trend and start making a higher high, at least from here, then it's definitely looking like it could just maintain sideways or break this trend. And so you just got to be careful of that. All right. Anything else? Going once, going twice. Thank you all for being here. I'm not going to have another weekly outlook for 2 weeks at the very least. I'm moving and packing, and I'm going to be without internet, and it's going to be crazy. But I'm going to do my best to try to be here on the 30th. And if I don't make it on the 30th, then it'll definitely be July 7th. So hope I can make it on the 30th, though. I just don't know if I'll have internet and stuff by then when I move in. But thank you all for being here. I'll definitely still post in the charts channel as much as I possibly can. And when I can't post charts, I will definitely still have a commentary of something of what I'm seeing. And I appreciate y'all for being patient with me. And I'll see you all during the week. Have a good one. Bye. Stephen.